is click the three dots and mute it. Mute.
I took a risk. Would you please join me in lighting the chalice? The words are in your orders of service. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for a future meeting, in celebration of the life we share together.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Charlie Tyler. I'm the pastor here at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Low Country. Those of you who are guests and visitors today, you should know that you have made your way into one of the most warmest and heartfelt welcoming communities that I believe exists in the face of the earth. And so count yourself fortunate here today. If you are a guest or visitor for the first or perhaps second time and would like to introduce yourself, tell us briefly where you're from, that might be good for us. And so do we have any first or second time visitors today? Yes, ma'am, in the back.
Yes. Hi, I'm Sue McIntyre, and I'm here for the listener welcome right now, and I'm going to come and join you all today.
Welcome. Glad to have you here. Thank you. Yes, sir. If you want to.
I'm Mark Hannock. My brother twisted my arm to come here today. Just kidding about that. I'm visiting from Safety Harbor, Florida. My wife is attending her 48 college reunion down in Savannah, so I'm stuck with my brother and sister-in-law this weekend and had a wonderful time.
Very nice. Great to have more Hanocks in the house. Keep them coming. Others. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Melissa Caden. I am from Macon, well, I'm originally from Pittsburgh, live in Macon, Georgia. My mom is a member, and I'm here visiting her for the weekend.
Welcome. Thank you for coming. Linda, let her know that Macon's not that far a commute. She can come on a regular. Anybody else that I've missed? So we have a special service that will be unfolding in front of you today. This is the time where we acknowledge our new members. And so as we go through the day, go through the service, you'll have a chance to get to see and know and hear names that perhaps are unfamiliar to you. And one of the things that will be happening, of course, is that we will find that as these new people come here, we will discover that one of two things has happened to them. One, they've lost their minds entirely. Or that's too funny. Or two, they have found home and heart and liberty and peace and a place where the soul can be expanded as big as it needs to. So one of those two things is happening to these individuals here. You be the judge as we spend time together. We have some name tags that I want to continue to hand out. Buddy, I think, are you here? Yeah, Buddy? I'm here. If you would, please. Come down. Sally, where are we? Thank you. Sally Walksland. And after a harrowing trip to California wine country, Gary Green and Sharon are here to get their Sharon, we'll fix that problem later.
What problem?
Okay, never mind. Thank you. So they went to California. They've been avoiding it for pandemic reasons until Sharon gets there and gets COVID. Spend a week recovering over there while Gary just tromps through the wine fields. Wineries. Let's see, there's some announcements that I want to ask that you would please focus on. You'll see that our final music on Malthus is coming up on Saturday, June 10. There is a website that you can go to hear the quality of the individual, Rod McDonald, who will be with us, so please take note of that. Upcoming services, this coming Sunday I'll be speaking. There's small group dinners. You also see that the sign up for that is in the vestibule. That's through today, or else you can't eat anywhere. So please sign that. And then, of course, starting this month, we will be making 1 week donation to the Bluffton Self-Help Food Pantry. And so thank you for your kindness in that. I think that that's all the announcements that I need to make at this time. If I've not missed anything, I'm going to turn this over to Maxine. So Maxine.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to UUCL. I'm a member of the UUCL membership committee, And today we have a very special service. It is our new member recognition ceremony, and we have 26 new members who have joined since last May. And just want to applaud all our new members who stepped forward to join our UUCL in order to transcend the isolated self, to connect with others and become part of a greater community of shared values, guided by our 7 principles, which encourage growth and help us to guide our lives. These principles, on face value, perhaps are easy to acknowledge, but they are a challenge to adhere to on a daily basis. We unite together in our loving, supportive congregation to help each other live by these shared values. I would just like to read a little poem that's written by Kimberly Ann Tomzak Carlson, stated, "A place of belonging and caring. It is not by chance that you arrived here today. You have been looking for something larger than yourselves. Inside of you, there's a yearning, a calling, a hope for more, a desire for a place of belonging and caring. Through your struggles, someone nurtured you into being, instilling a belief in a shared purpose, a common yet precious resource that belongs to all of us when we share. And so, you began seeking a beloved community, a people that does not put fences around love, a community that holds its arms open to possibilities of love, a heart home to nourish your soul and share your gifts." So I would like you all now to open your psalm books to Psalm number 21 and stand if you are willing and able.
Good morning. Good morning. This is the part of the service where we share our joys and concerns, because we believe that By sharing our joys it enhances them, and by sharing our concerns, it makes them easier to bear. We ask that you not make any political statements nor any announcements during this Okay, I actually have something myself. It's been a tough week. Lost a very dear friend, lost a nephew to pancreatic cancer, and another friend had something very difficult happen in their life. So I'm actually feeling very lucky for the life I have and the friends that I have, so thank you. Okay, that's it. If you would turn to number 473, affirmation, and read with me. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
And now we share from our abundance. We, some of you have noticed that the hamper that we put the food in for Sandalwood Food Pantry is no longer among the living. It gave up the ghost after I don't know how many years. But if you will put your food donations either on or under the table in the back that is beneath the portraits of Manuel and Olive Holland, it would be much appreciated. And now we will take a collection for the support of this congregation. For your generous support of this church.
We are so pleased to welcome our new members today. I'm Lynn Nordenberg, and along with my dear friend Kathleen Kelly, chair the membership committee. 4 brave souls of our new members have agreed to speak this morning and tell us why they are here. The name of this sermon is So What Brings You Here? And we will start with John Wall.
Well, good morning, all of you.
Morning, John.
I've been a Unitarian since, I think I was 10 years old. And so I feel very, very lucky to have found you all. Mostly I've been a dormant Unitarian. I didn't search for, you know, the community until my wife Jan and I adopted 2 children and in the 90s, and got involved with a Unitarian church in Golden, Colorado, and worked with that church for a number of years. And as a teenager, you know, long before the 1990s, I was a member of a group called Liberal Religious Youth, and All Souls Unitarian Church in Kansas City, Missouri. That's where I met Jan. Anyway, as I said, I'm kind of a dormant Unitarian by nature. My love is really nature and getting out in the world and appreciating everything that's around me. We moved to Georgia from Colorado back in October of last year, and Jan really had a penchant for trying to get some community, feeling of that community. And in all honesty, so do I. So we kind of reached out to Unitarian Universalist organizations or churches in the Savannah area. And then we came here. And lo and behold, instantly, I knew I had found home. And it's because of you. Charlie Tyler, Neil Jones, Pat Grove, and Dick Hood, all of those people have been really instrumental. And you all need to feel very lucky to have them. And I feel very lucky to have you all. So thanks.
Our next speaker is Beth Reinders.
Excuse me, I have props. Good morning. I'm Beth Reinders, a proud graduate of the inaugural Pathways to Belonging class in 2023. And I'm here to share with you what brought me to this podium today, which I confess rattles my nerves a little bit, but bear with me. My pathway began with a friend who knows my mind and my heart. I think she knew, I'll try not to cry this too. I think she knew that if I walked through the door she had gently, patiently held open for me, I'd find the personal and spiritual safe haven that I so needed and yearned for. She knew I would be made to feel welcome by the people in whose presence I would find love being put into action and civility and decency in abundance. So I began my Sunday visits, and I found that every week I took home with me a valuable something that I kept rolling around in my mind. For instance, I learned about the spiritual and ministerial properties of Snickers bars. I learned that more important than the ladders that we try to climb in our lives are the walls that we lean them against. I learned that UUs have a high percentage of introverts, which gives this one great comfort. And I learned that sometimes you just have to love somebody anyway. With each new person I met, I came to realize the astounding veracity of what I call the Charlie pitch. As he attests and promises, this is indeed one of the most gracious, bright, tolerant, talented, and generous groups I've ever encountered. For the first time ever, I found myself in the midst of people who actually practiced what they preached and charmingly waffled a little over that word, preach. So when the Pathways sessions were offered, I said yes. Let me just say that Ann and Charlie, who lead this group, are absolute superstars, but we all know that already. These two guides crystallize in a magnificent way the essence of who we are, and equally important, who or what we are not. They were candid and supportive and encouraged our voices, serving as exemplars of the community we were considering joining. And it was clear and taught that the choice was ours to make freely. Anne and Charlie shared and taught and listened, but never proselytized. They impressed with the notion of deeds, not creeds. I found myself thinking that maybe I had found the place where I belong, and I could be loved anyway. I recently read an article in the New York Times entitled, "Ted Lasso, Holy Fool." It was written by Tish Harrison Warren, who is a mother, an activist, and an Anglican priest who submits weekly to the Times, and you may be familiar with her. I don't know how many of you have watched Ted Lasso. We have Ted Lasso fans here. It's garnered numerous awards and a huge fan base. The stripped-down premise of the show is about an American football coach who's hired to coach an English soccer team. And Ted knows virtually nothing about soccer, and he's actually being set up to lose. But of course, things evolve. Warren in her article says, "I'm drawn to the show because of Ted's genuine, though troubled, joy, redemptive silliness, and relentless embrace of people." She continues, "In a time when our culture is marked by outrage, division, and cynicism, Ted Lasso calls us back to our humanity. He also asks us to lighten up a little, to not take ourselves too seriously. In doing so, he reminds everyone he encounters of our shared humanity. We are all, in the end, people who long to be known, loved, and delighted in. He shows us what's possible when we choose to root for the people all around us. This," Warren says, "is the gift of Ted Lasso. This, I say, is the gift of this congregation, a precious gift left at my door." James Baldwin encouraged us to know that in oneself, waiting to be found, there is a light. I discovered that in this place, in this beloved community, we can find that light and we can let it shine. Thank you.
Ray Haley will now share with us.
It's hard to follow people who have a better style of speaking. And so I say, like, who am I? I'm Ray Haley, and I think I've met most people here, but it's good to have a tag. It's, well, I know who I am, and when I look at it and remember who you are. It's a fine thing. The question about how I got here, what it amounts to, I was born into a tribe of very Irish and very Catholic folks who had deep beliefs and myths and all kinds of stuff. And you sort of felt that there was only one type of person in the world. You were either Catholic or public. They didn't even like the idea of saying Protestant, and certainly Jewish never entered into the discussion. I don't think anybody ever heard of Islam. But so that was the thing. And if I think about the community, at least the little community of Staten Island where I lived and grew up, New Dorm, it was a pleasant, nicely built. Each house had a family name, mostly Italian names, and they had all either just arrived or they moved in with grandma who arrived, 50 years before. And nobody ever moved out. If I ever go back there are people around the schoolyard I used to hang out. I usually can remember most of their names. Oh, right, like they had seen me yesterday. It was friendly and supportive. But only for people considered to be like themselves. Certainly, black people were not welcome, and it was very obvious. This grade school I attended, if I'm at the Catholic Church, there were no black people. And in the school, there were not only no black students, but no administrators or teachers or, nothing like that. And I don't think it ever occurred to anyone that this was a problem. After all, we were public and open to everyone. Should a realtor send them to a place near us? But because that didn't happen, that was not proper. At one point, I remember my mother, had an apartment upstairs for rent, and she listed with a particular realtor who would know who to send. And this nice lady in a white nurse's uniform with a little child arrived, and they were both black, which scared everybody in the neighborhood. And people were asking, like, is Mrs. Haley moving black people into our block? It's all going to go to hell. And because she sort of understood that code. And she said, oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know who sent you, but that apartment's been rented. And I looked at her like, gee, I didn't know that, Mom. But it's enlightenment. It's just, and it's not that it was unique. What's scary is that was typical. And that was sort of the environment. The Catholic Church, separate issue, but not so separate, really. From my point of view, and even as a tiny child, not that I joined a liberal congregation or anything, I just kept plodding along going to the church because that's what everybody in the tribe does. And if you look at it askance, if you took a day off from going to Sunday Mass and having communion. But I can remember, that might have been 4 or 5, like sitting on the floor in the kitchen with my mom who was cooking. I spent a lot of time with her as an early child that I was mostly sick and home and sort of not in the community or meeting people or talking to people. I was very sheltered. Fortunately, that ended. But so I was asking her things because I had been to my first, I guess, path, as it were, to Catholicism. Well, not quite like what we do here, but the first thing they talked about was you should pray for a happy death. I'm thinking, do they know I'm sick? And then they said that that's your goal throughout life, is to prepare for a happy death. I said, Jesus, this is a scary place. And the next thing was about transubstantiation. I couldn't spell it, I didn't quite know what she was saying. And when I went home, I said to my mom, what's this deal about? Magically, the priest turns bread and wine into the body of Christ? How could that be? And of course she said, well, it's the faith, it's what's taught to us. You learn to accept that. And I said, okay, so that's pretty much the same as the virgin birth? And it's just, yes, exactly. So we don't know why that is, but it's in the book. So we're taught it and we believe it. And that pretty much was the answer to all the things you shouldn't do or were required to do, or the things that you should feel shame and guilt about. Sort of fits. Some maybe remember the famous Jimmy Carter interview with Playboy magazine. And Jimmy confessed that he lusted after women in his heart. And therefore, he was as sinful as adulterers, and he certainly, unless he's reborn, will go to hell. I thought, he could be a Catholic. He was a devout Baptist, but it seems like we all... The difference, I think, at least among the Catholics I knew, was they would say things like that, but I don't think anybody really believed it. Or at least the people I were aware of, their behaviors and what they did, had really nothing to do with, let's say, the Nicene Creed, which you recited every week, and that always troubled me. After a while, I just stopped. I just stood up and said nothing, because there wasn't, I don't think I can think of a single sentence there that I accept on faith or reason And the reason was never, never welcome. If you asked a question like, well, how's that, Father? Or just they look at you like, you've had no Catholic education. You're not suitable to ask that question. I said, oh. So I'd sit down and be quiet and hope for a happy death. I mean, the toughest time of life, well, not really. But maybe for all young men, and I'm sure women, but I know nothing about that. When you say something to a priest in confession about enjoying sexual fantasies, you are treated as if you had killed somebody. And you should definitely somehow save yourself from this. And so you begin doing things, or I began doing things like being very careful at night to not fall asleep till I said a good, faith, sincere act of contrition, for fear that if I died, I'd definitely go to hell because I had a sexual fantasy. And you spent your life on things that just made you anxious. Like, what's the point? It didn't inspire better behavior in anyone I know of. It just made you feel shame and guilt about normal life thoughts, behaviors, and such. And the failure to distinguish between action and thought is particularly dysfunctional in my mind. And they wanted to throw me out of religious class when I said something like that, because they said, well, it's just like if you think you're angry at this guy, it's just like you killed him. And that's a mortal sin, and you'll go to hell. But geez, I never thought of it that way. It's, one more minute. I always get the hook when I start talking. And my wife always points out, once you start, there's no stopping you. It's hard to start, but I don't stop. Like others, I want to thank Anne and Charlie for the pathway. It was a wonderful educational experience. Learned about history of UU, thought, evolution, and people and what they've done. And it's not that I hadn't thought about, but there's an awful lot that I didn't know and still don't. And I want to thank those who shared that with me, because everybody contributed and sort of shared the conversation. And it's nice to be free to just say whatever pops into your head and not be wondered that none will say, well, you're going to hell. Thank you all.
Like Buddy, I grew up in a church, Lutheran, where if you thought about doing something, it was a sin, even if you didn't do it. And I used to think, well, why not do it then? Our last speaker this morning is Buddy Kirby.
Good morning. I'm Buddy. Good morning, Buddy. Public speaking for me is somewhere in the category of wisdom tooth pull. So bear with me. I'm just going to tell a story. It's a story you most likely are familiar with. It's a story of two wolves, and it's an ancient tale that's been part of the Native American tradition for generations. Although the exact two wolves story is unknown in origin, historians typically attribute it to Cherokee and Lenape people. So the story features two characters, a grandfather and his grandson. The grandfather explains to the grandson that there are two wolves fighting within him, an image that serves as a metaphor for our internal human struggle. The conversation between the two men goes like this. I have a fight going on in me, the old man says. It's taking place between two wolves. One is evil. He's angry, envious, sorrowful, resentful, greedy, arrogant, self-pitying, guilty, resentful, has a sense of inferiority, lies, has false pride, feels superior, and is bound by ego. The grandfather looked at the grandson and went on. The other embodies positive emotions. He lives joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. Both wolves are fighting to the death. The same fight is going on inside you and every other person too. The grandson took a moment to reflect on this, and at last he looked up at his grandfather and asked, which wolf will win? The old Cherokee gave a simple reply, the one you feed. An intellectual story makes sense that the choice seems obvious, will just do good. If, however, you look at the reality of the story and experientially, personal responsibility includes not only thought, but action in the face of deep effort, commitment, and often strong emotion, much tougher. A main reason I decided to join the church, and apparently I have a joining disorder that I've just overcome, is to satisfy what I've seen in the church. What I've witnessed in the last year being in the community are individuals who are committed to doing things for the church that produce emotional and personal challenges that they faced with courage, with no complaints. I've seen people work tirelessly with no expectation of thanks beyond the gratitude of service. And I've watched our quartet of ministers deliver inspirational, practical, and useful wisdom. Our music is a ministry of the soul. Finally, there are a few better examples of feeding the good wolf than you people and Charlie, who both literally and figuratively has the Snickers ministry. So I love you all, and I'm glad to be a part of this community. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for sharing. Today, we have the privilege of welcoming those who have signed our membership book in the last year. As your name is read, please come forward. If you bring this flyer with you, with the ceremony, then you can continue to participate. So, and when you come forward, please stay forward. We'll form a line across here.
When you become a member, you receive some goodies. Those of you who recently joined know that when you signed the book, you got a mug and a bumper sticker. And then sometime when you randomly were called up here, you received a name badge. Well, those are all symbols of membership. So today you'll receive a couple more symbols of membership that we hope will help you feel more connected. But this is a formal ceremony. This is the community welcoming you. I think of it a little like a kindergarten dance recital. You can't leave until everybody's done, and no misbehaving, please. But you're going to face the group, and then we'll have a very short and meaningful ceremony. So when we call your name, please come forward and start lining up right here in front of me. And we'll just stand in line. And we're going to alternate names, is that right? Or I'll do the names and you do the certificates. Okay. Little last minute planning here. The order of names is the order in which people signed the book. Now this is funny because Lynn and I were trying to put it together and both of us desperately wanted to alphabetize the names. And she convinced me that having them in the order in which you sign them is another meaningful symbol of where you are on the path. So, as I call your name, please come forward. Hold your applause. We'll have applause at the end. Ashley Drexler. Not here. Susan Crow. Come on up here, Susan. Pam Green. We have 3 greens today, but in different places. Mary Lenny. Yay, Mary. Mary Lou Beavers. Mark O'Neill. Janet Gold. Not here. Jan Dunn. John Wall. Rosemary Staples. Tom Brown and Joanne Brown are not here. Andrea Baker.
They're not here either.
And Steve Clark. Okay. Beth Renders. You'll see our speakers coming forward, John and Beth. They were indeed brave today.
Yes.
Yeah. Ray Haley, another brave one, who reminded me of my Catholic youth. Going to confession every Saturday. Sharon Green. Gary Green. Chris Meyer. Jan Weston. Jim Weston. Evie Schultz. Susan, I think you better move down a little. We're running out of space. The choreographer will be upset with us. Amy Hadsel. Sally Wolfslang. Diane Valeri. And Buddy Kirby. We're very pleased to present to our congregation the group that has joined in 2023. And now I'll turn it over to Charlie.
Thank you, Kathleen. Those of you that just came down front, you should know that there are some traditions that when you came down front, you would be held underwater for a period of time. That's not going to happen. Breathe a sigh of relief.
And there is no probation period, just so you know. Today, we have the privilege of welcoming those of you who have signed our membership book and made a contribution since this past year. You've already come forward, and now Charlie.
Here in this church, human beings have gathered seeking a higher purpose and a deeper meaning of life than they could find alone. We are grateful today for each one of you that you have found your way here and that you have decided to make a commitment to this faith community. We hope that as a member of this church, you will allow yourselves to know and be known, to minister to and to be ministered unto, to love and to be loved by this congregation. We never really know what combination of fate and friendship and good luck it is that brings certain people together in this world. But we believe that membership is the church calls each of us here to celebrate the fate that has drawn us together and to regard each one a spiritual friend and a potential teacher.
As members, Sorry. As members of this church, we pledge to be guardians of each other's spirit, to respect the ultimate privacy of each one's human struggle, and to believe in each one's inherent dignity. Will the congregation please rise and join together with our newest members? We'll all say this together. In the bonds of fellowship and love, we unite to cultivate reverence, to promote spiritual growth and ethical commitment, to minister to each other's needs and to those of humanity, to celebrate the sacred moments of life's passage, and to honor the holiness at the heart of being. On behalf of the congregation, it is my privilege to welcome you to this community bound by a shared quest for truth, goodness, and beauty. We do not promise final answers to life's ultimate question, but instead the high adventure of seeking together. I'm going to repeat that. We do not promise final answers to life's ultimate questions, but instead the high adventure of seeking together. We invite you to share our concern for justice, peace, that we might better shape the meaning of our lives and build a better world. Remember,
we accept your invitation. We come believing that our lives can be enriched by the relationship we now enter with you. We wish to share the joys and responsibilities of this congregation.
As members of the community ever becoming, we welcome you, mindful of our heritage and our hope. We pledge to walk beside you in celebration, growth, and service.
We welcome you to this community with all our hearts. The symbols you receive today are simple. We wish they could be gold, but they are paper and cake. Cake is better than paper, I suppose. So we invite you to join together. New members, please reach out to former members, continuing members, and please get to know at least one new person today. You also receive a book, and this book, new members, is one that you don't have to pass a test, but it's something to check to see what do I know and what do I want to learn about being a Unitarian. So we welcome you and we wish you all love. Thank you.
So turn in your hymnals, if you would, to hymn number 145, and may we sing together as the tranquil stream. John, give you a chance to get back to the seat.
But you were in my You were in my induction band. You were in that band when we were all together. Was he your name? Oh, yeah, I thought it was in February. How are you? Congratulations, man. Good.
Hymn 145.
Thank you. Tuesday night. Yes. Yeah. No double vision. No double vision. You're clear as well, hopefully you'll find the painting when we search. I'm looking forward to it. It's my celebration. All the best.
know I love being a part of a congregation that whoops it up at the end of a service like this. You know you're not in a Presbyterian church anymore. Makes my heart happy, and it fills my heart with joy to see you here, these people here, and to know what else is coming for the rest of this year. Hold on to your seats. Thank you.
I know it seems as though we've had a number of closings. That was the most joyous, largest new member ceremony that I've ever seen in my days here. And I didn't think we had enough place on the floor for all the people. I thought we were going to have to open the doors to extend the space. So that was a wonderful ceremony. But we do have some thank yous to say in closing. So thank you to all who have helped in our service today and also in the development of our membership goals. This includes Charlie Tyler and Ann Titus Harrison for the facilitation of Pathways to Belonging, our new membership program that have received a lot of accolades from many people. Also, thank you very much to all our board members and notably our president, Clay Barnard, leading our strategic planning, and David Kelly, chair of the Growth Initiative Committee. Thank you to all our membership committee for all the varied tasks of membership, co-chaired by Lynn Nordenberg and Kathleen Kelly. And did you know that we have a marketing specialist? We've come into the modern world. People that can help us with online services. These people include Susan Crow, Ashley Trexler, Kat Duncan, and of course, many thanks to David and Sarah, who is always here with his dedicated technical support. And always a thank you to John Shepard for musical expertise. Thank you to all our new members for initiation of this new phase of growth in your lives. We are very pleased to have you all and hope to get to know you better. We welcome all with love and acceptance. We are glad you are here with us. And you've already been encouraged, but I will do so to encourage everybody, once we are in the foyer, to really try to get to know each other. It's going to take a while to get to know all these people, but we can get started today. So new members, know that you are home, united in our faith, and linked with each other.
You are free. New members, inside your book you have a little sticker. It's an earth sticker. It has to do with protecting the earth. But for today, pretend it's a I'm a new member sticker. And please wear it in the lobby so that we can reach out to you. It's the way we'll find you. If your book doesn't have one, there are extras up here. Thank you. And are they free now? No.
Yes.
No. Okay, now you may go. Oh, the challenge.
We will extinguish our chalice now.
Can we stand together, please?
The words are in your order of service.
While we extinguish the flame, we still bear in our hearts the light of truth, the warmth of unity, and the fire of commitment, until we are together again.
So we're together again, and yes, now you are free.
on the